In this video, I want to show you how you can build a mobile application inside of Replit without having to use Expo. You do not need to deal with Expo, React Native. We're going to build it on web technology today, and we're going to ship that web application into the real Apple App Store on our device, and then you can also ship it to the Google Play Store. It's super simple. So how are we going to do that? We're going to use Despia, which essentially allows you to turn your web app into a mobile application. It uses a WK WebView and a WebView with hardware acceleration to render your web application in a native container. And that native container contains all the most important native SDKs. Let's say, for example, Revenue Cat paywalls, and then you can just run npm install Despia native to install the Despia npm package as a dependency into your web app. You're just going to import it, and then with a single line of code, you're going to have native functionalities running inside of your web application that runs inside of a mobile application. And if you worry about performance, because there are many people telling you, oh, web views have terrible performance, it's not something that Despia has to worry about for most applications unless you're building 3D advanced graphic games using HTML5, which you shouldn't. But with Despia, you get hardware acceleration, you're getting lots of caching improvements, so we do lots of caching to really make this speedy and performant, and also web views have improved significantly over the past 10 years from the normal UI WebView to the WK WebView. We're talking about 70% performant improvements, so it's really a good way of building apps, because also 20 to 40% of the App Store are WebView apps or use WebViews at some extent for certain parts of the application. So it's definitely a trusted method by developers all around the world. And Despia makes this way, way simpler. So you don't have to work with a command line. You don't have to install packages. You don't need Xcode. You can all do this from a no-code web-based application where you just go on publish to the, App Store here, and then you click on Publish App and it's shipped to the store just like this. No code signing, no all of that crazy stuff needed. We do that all for you. So now let's actually build our application. So if I go here on npm.despia.com, that's the package to get this native functionality, we can go to the master prompt here, and we can copy the master prompt and put it into Replit, right? So we'll go into Replit and we'll paste it inside of here. And let's say make a simple sample app with example Despia native features for a test video I am making. There you go. Let's send this. Now we could also adjust the theming and all that kind of stuff in Replit, but I think we're good for now. So now it's building the application, configuring everything and setting everything up. This can take a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to make a cut, and it looks way simpler now by just cutting directly to the result. So now here's what I really like about the Replit agent. Here's what it's doing. It's going to the Despia documentation, and it's getting all the links for all the native functionalities and all the implementations. And now it's visiting those websites here, and it's taking a look at them, and it's scraping them. Take a look at that. It imports all the Despia native documentation into Replit. It now looks into haptic feedback. How do I import that? It gets the prompt that we suggested to use for internal reference. So it loads all of the data into Replit. That's why you get such great results when using it. And then it goes to the share dialog here. You see it imports directly the Despia documentation into Replit. Take a look at that. And then again, we're doing the same thing for the native clipboard. Now that doesn't seem to open it that well, but there you go. It opens the other ones here. So there you go. It opens all the native ones here. You get biometric verification, all that kind of stuff. So it does open all of them here. So now we can say start with the design, build the entire app. I'm going to say, hey, just build the entire app for now. And now Replit is going to start building the entire app. And now we're going to get notified when we are ready. Now this can take sometimes up to half an hour, so we're just going to let it sit and we'll take a look at how this looks when it's done. Now, let's see, can we already publish it? Yeah, it seems like we already have a primary URL for this. So let's publish this actually. We can just publish it as a blank application. I don't think it should fail, and we can kind of like try to get a link so we can already build it with Despia. So while Replit is building, Despia can already turning it into a native application. The nice thing about Despia is, first of all, it does now in a couple of days include local bundling, similar to Capacitor, just way easier because it manages all of the stuff for you when it comes to packaging and native features, and no command line is needed, and no Xcode and no Android Studio. But we're going to allow you to package it in there so it can work fully offline and you can bundle it in. But the benefit right now of Despia is if you don't want bundling, you can also remotely load the application. So this is why you need the link, and you got to put it into Despia. So every time you open the Despia app, it loads the latest version of your web-based mobile application. So you do have updates over the air, so you can fix critical issues immediately. But we'll also offer an option so you can bundle a local version in either for when the device is offline or just as the default, based on what you prefer. So now, Replit is still promoting this version here, so it should take a little bit. We'll then take the link and then we'll just put this into Despia, and we can see kind of like it's building it. So it will take a little bit. So let's make a cut and let's go to the part where we already have the link. So now, as we can see, we got the link, so we can open it. Now, obviously, we're going to nothing, but we want to copy this link, and you could also connect it to your custom domain. That's always something that you can do, but we're just going to take the Replit domain. So now we'll go into our Despia app, which we already have connected with the easy-to-use integration to the Apple App Store or Google Play Store, depending on what you prefer, or you can do both. So let's just paste the link inside of here. I already did the other setup, so it's pretty simple. I do have videos about that. I'll link them down below. But now we're going to go just on Publish App, and I already have my app ID. I have my development team linked with it. All the bundle IDs are generated, and we'll publish the project. Now it's building this application. It will include this dynamic source. Offline sources are coming soon. And then we're going to be able to integrate all those native functionalities remotely into our application. So we can already publish while there's nothing on the link yet, and then republish on Replit. And thanks to updates over the air, the changes are going to be reflected immediately on our application. Now, as long as you don't start with a calculator app and turn it into OnlyFans, the App Store won't have any problem with that. But if you start with a calculator app and then turn it into OnlyFans, Apple may restrict or block your application. I'm required to tell this because we did have some people try to turn a calculator app into an OnlyFans app. So I just want to mention this so you don't do that. Or at least, make it still a calculator that then has a hidden OnlyFans feature. You probably shouldn't suggest that, but you get the idea. Okay, perfect. So now inside of Replit, it is, setting all this up. You see we published the app, and is it already done? Is the agent done? Let's see. We paid 78 cents for building this application. Okay, it seems to be working. So let's try republishing this. And let's also go to the preview. How does it look? Preview will be available soon. Built in database. Just ask agent, deploy. There you go. It still seems to load the preview, so it may take a little bit. It seems to be also still working on maybe the deployment in the middle caused some errors. Let's say keep going. Let's see. Let's make sure it keeps going and just doesn't randomly quit at certain points. Turn on dynamic intelligence, send messages while AI is working, seamless integration with third-party tools. So Replit has all of that going on. Okay, now it is continuing, so we need to wait a little bit. Then I'll be back when it's fully done, because they said it takes about 20 minutes, sometimes maybe even 30 minutes. So I got great news. The build was successful. So now we can take a look at this. So let's go back into Replit, and Replit was also successful. So let's continue building here, right? There you go. And now let's give it a 5-star for the agent. And now our application is done. It's going to, give us some summaries, and, we can add more features into it, but we just want to get an idea of how to implement those features, right? And we can also adjust the theme and, change the colors and all that kind of stuff. But I think we're good. We can change, the theme here, honey, and all that kind of stuff. But I think, oh, that looks ugly. I think we're good with that. I don't know how to go back. Actually, I can go back. No, I can't go back. Okay, fine. Okay, good. We're back. Wonderful. So now we have it deployed, so let's test the application. So we're now publishing it. So let's open my phone here, and as you can see, I have the application now natively deployed on TestFlight. You can have it on Android beta, whatever you want. And now I'm going to open the application. This will open the native application as a real application. You can see it says running in Despia on iOS, so it detects that it runs in the native application. I do have haptic feedback. I don't know if you can hear it, but I don't know. You do get some nice haptic feedback. Feels amazing. You do also have Face ID. Take a look at that. It does the Face ID, and now it says authentication successful, user verified successfully. You can do the native share dialog. Look at that stuff. How cool is that? Look at this. And then save the camera roll won't work because you need to have a CDN URL for that. As you can see, it will say image not found because it didn't set up a backend where we can store images. But then we can also do local push notifications. And you will see I'm now getting a push notification in a second. Or I should be. I'm probably not seeing it. Yes, as you can see, I got the push notification. I'm just not seeing it because, I am sharing my screen. And then we can add many more features, right? And all that kind of stuff. So it can set up much, much more with the Despia protocols. As you can see, the agent is still working. It's working all the time. But it's really cool. Let's just stop the agent. And it's really simple now. Let's say there is a certain feature that we want to add into our application. So let's say we want to do native contact access at the risk of now doxing my entire contacts. I can just copy this AI prompt here, right? Ooh, that's a nice sound. And I'm just going to copy the prompt, right? And I'm just going to go into Replit, and I'm going to say add native contact access. And I'm going to paste the prompt just to make sure that it doesn't have AI dementia, even though it should, set it all up correctly. Let's just make sure that we send this all correctly here. And as you can see, it actually fetched the text content from the page. So the Despia documentation actually works very well with Replit. It's optimized. And Replit is optimized towards getting those markdown from those websites. But as you can see, it now has this prompt here, right? And you can now go a little bit down, and you will see that it should now start implementing this. So it will say, I'll implement native contact access functionality using the Despia SDK as specified. Let me add this feature to the homepage. So now it will add native contact access to our application. And we can just add this native feature in a snap. And the nice thing about Despia is because it does have abstraction towards the native functionalities, you don't have to deal with the native code directly yourself. You don't need Xcode. You don't need Android Studio. Even if you are using React Native, if you are using Capacitor, you're likely sometimes for some of the native features, you need to go back into Xcode to set them up and create your own bridges with the JavaScript bridges. Despia has most of the major ones, or all of the major ones, and most of the minor ones pre-set up for you. It's very simple. You can do it mostly in one line of code. So it's very token efficient. It's very easy, and it makes building applications a very nice, simple to use experience. And again, then you have cross-platform support because this application is one code base for the web, one code base for Android, and one code base for iOS. And you can have everything in one project. You don't have to manage two separate projects and keep them in sync. So it makes it super, super convenient, as you can see. So now, as you can see, it is going over the entire documentation and making sure that everything is set up correctly, which is something I appreciate about Replit. So this will load a little bit apparently. And as you can see, it seems like it might as well, yeah, it already has it set up. So how cool is that? Perfect. The app is running smoothly. Now let me get the final architect feedback. Perfect. Okay. Beautiful. And now it's thinking. As you can see, it created this task for itself to prompt itself to make sure to use Despia correctly. So I do really like the way Replit works. I really think it has a first-class experience. So we'll just wait till it's done. So now the Replit agent tried to go a little bit over the board. It already tried to implement the next native feature, which I don't want this video to take forever. So let's publish it with the contact access. We don't really need location tracking yet. So I think we're fine on that. But now I'm going to publish this and we're going to try this application out again. Now, the nice thing again about Despia is you have updates over the air. So whenever you change something on your application, on your web application code, it updates it immediately. So you do have some nice perks with Despia compared to Expo. Now, if you're trying to build an application that's only a mobile application and you don't need a web application at all, and you need, and you like liquid glass and you want everything to be liquid glass and you don't want any custom design besides liquid glass, and you only want the native components and you don't want to create your own components, probably the new Expo is better compared to Despia because it gives you all of that. But if you want to be able to design the application exactly the way you want it to be, you want to have the flexibility of the web, you want to plug into all the NPM packages that are available for the JavaScript ecosystem, you want to have less limitations when it comes to setting up some custom logic, setting up some, custom workflows, and then how they work together with your web application, Despia is probably a smart choice. It's not Expo versus Despia, it's everybody has their own purpose. If you are trying to build a web application and a mobile application and you want them to work together in harmony and nicely together, Despia is probably a great solution for you. If you're trying to build a mobile-only application, you don't care about the web and you frankly don't care about the flexibility on how to design things and you're not that big of a web development fan, probably Expo directly inside of Replit is a better solution to you. So those are two different solutions for two different kinds of use cases, and you just have to choose which one works for you. But hopefully this video showed you how simple it is to use Despia. So now let's share my phone. Let's open the application again. Again, we got beautiful updates over the air. And now, so you can see, we do have contact access. So let's request contact permission. As you can see, my app would like to access your contacts. Let's go and continue. Let's select only specific contacts. I'm going to just allow John Doe and Apple Inc. Let's continue and allow selected contacts. There you go. And now I did allow contact permission. It didn't though add the button to read the contacts, which is interesting. So let's say add a button to read the contacts. Those need to be two buttons because with Despia there's one button to request contacts and there's one button to read it. And you can't start an asynchronous call listening for the contacts before you have requested them, if that makes sense. Just the way how the native system has to work. You first need permission before you read it. That's why it shows us actually a false error message right now, because it tries to read it before we granted access, and then the state is outdated in the application. But again, the nice thing is about Replit is pretty smart in how it sets that up. It can go back into our documentation, read all of that. It does some great planning to make sure that what it implements is very correct, very precise. So we're just going to take a look at this. Is now it restarts the application, rebuilds it, request contact permission button, read contacts button. Beautiful. Now we granted access to the contacts through the native SDK. So now it's going to fix some issues that it created, because AI always likes to create some issues. And there you go. Then we just need to republish the application. and we should be good to go. Let's see. Yeah, it's now reading them, and now it's creating a checkpoint, add 2 buttons. There you go. Let's just republish this. And now we just need to republish inside of Replit, and then our application is updated. That's how convenient and simple it can be, adding native functionalities and native support into your native application if you choose web native technologies like Despia, which make it very convenient for you to do those things. So if you've tried Expo before and you are trying to get it set up and you're struggling a little bit with some of the implementations, or you tried Capacitor, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that this is an option that is available to you, not just to lovable users, because everybody always thinks Despia is only for lovable. It's for everything. It works with everything JavaScript. There's just that most lovable users use it because Replit has built-in mobile application support. Bolt has built-in mobile application support. So why use Despia? But actually, for example, with Bolt, they reached out to us and said, hey, we want to add Despia support because not everybody likes Expo. So I was looking into it. I was like, oh yeah, actually, I don't think Expo is that good of a solution for everybody. It's probably for 75% of all mobile applications that people want to build. But for the rest of the 25%, they need a solution. They probably need a web native solution that is more flexible. And this is why we're making this video, to show you that there is a solution. So if you feel stuck with Expo and those tools that provide you native app capabilities, you may need to rethink in what you understand about native apps and how you build them. Okay, so now let's try opening the application again. And there you go. So now we should be able to request contact permission. Now, the problem is the read context button should always work because there's no variable that tells us if the permission was granted. So let's say always allow running read contacts if the user requests contacts, there is no callback that it was made. Trying to read the contacts is the proof that it works / or not. Let's say after 3 seconds of waiting, you can confirm that it did not work if nothing comes back. So right now we don't have an integration issue with the native functionality, but we do have a state issue where we can click the button to read the contacts, which we already granted because the application is out of state, out of sync. So we can go in, and I made a typo there, excuse me, but I can go into Replit, I can tell it to fix this, and the nice thing about the prompt that we started with and the way Replit works is it's always going to go back to the Despia documentation, and it's always going to respect how Despia works and how it should be set up. So if you're really looking for great results when working with Despia and you want an application and an AI that just hits the nail all the time, I would highly suggest Replit. It works very great, and I feel confident using this in a production application that uses Despia. Now, same thing applies to Bolt as well. Bolt is also pretty good. Lovable is more the thing that is, let's say, interesting occasionally, even though I do like it and I have workarounds for certain things that I make videos about. But I do feel that actually on a technical level, pretty much everything besides base 44 is a little bit better or a lot better than lovable. But that is probably a whole video of itself. But lovable is fine for starting. It's simple to get started with. So there you go. Good. The location permission is still there as expected. The error in the browser console might be from a cached version. Okay, perfect. So now it's resolving most of those issues. Again, the nice thing is here, we're not testing in a Expo Go app. We're testing on the real app that is on TestFlight. That is the same one that will be published at the App Store. So we don't have any limitations on the native environment settings that we can test. So let's republish this again. And we can test it on the live application while we're building our application, because sometimes when you work with simulators, you have it working there, but it doesn't work on the live application, or it completely fails off on the live application. You won't have that issue because Despia lets you test the real deal through TestFlight on your device in just a couple of minutes. So it's really convenient to set up. So that's just something that you always have available. So now it's publishing again, and I hope that the state issue has been resolved, or is going to be resolved in this publishing here that is taking a little bit. There you go, it's bundling it, and then you can add a custom domain and all that kind of stuff. You have your Replit hosting and all the good stuff. Now it's promoting the release, so it's pushing it out. It should be live in a couple of minutes or possibly even seconds. So there you go, still publishing, but should be done with it anytime. Perfect. So still publishing. There you go. It's taking a little bit today. We'll just give it a minute. And I think I should probably make a cut and be back when it's done. So now it was published, so let's share my screen. Let's open the application, the real one from TestFlight, and let's try this out. Let's read the contacts. And as you can see, it reads the contacts, and it's now fully working. How cool is that? I got the contacts that are on my native phone here inside of the application. Mind-blowing. So if you've tried building mobile applications in Replit before, or any other tool that provides Expo support, and you're stuck and you can't get those native functionalities to work, or you're fighting with the publishing process, maybe you want to rethink in how you build your application. Maybe building your mobile application as a web application with Despia and the NPM package as a bridge to access native functionalities with a pre-abstracted way of accessing those SDKs that makes it super simple and token efficient and optimized for AI large language models is the way to go. So definitely try it out. You get one free build with Despia, so there's no risk attached. And it could be the thing that gets you unstuck and gets your application on the store. So definitely check it out. And if you want to learn more about Despia, make sure to follow this channel. I want to see, does the location thing work? No, because we kind of like abandoned it halfway through. But that's fine. I'm still excited about the native contact access, the native push notification access, the native share access, and all the exciting stuff that we have built in here with Face ID and all that kind of cool stuff. So building mobile applications doesn't have to be hard. You just have to use the web, because it is probably the easiest way to build native applications. And if you worry about performance, the days of the UI WebView are over. They are really performant now, and especially with Despia's, proprietary optimizations, caching mechanisms, all that kind of stuff. You're covered, and your app won't feel like a web view. You can't select random text like all the other ones. Despia does a lot of optimization on how it renders the interface to make sure that it is almost, you can't spot that it is actually rendering web content in a native application. And it has all the native modules that you could ever dream of. Just take a look at our documentation. We're always adding new stuff. There you go. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next video. Take care. Bye-bye.